Today's guest coming up are Graven from Geo Web. Is it the Geo Web Graven or just Geo Web?
I don't know. I guess we kind of refer to it with the. That's not like in the brand or anything, but I refer to it as like an entity rather than a company. So I often do use the word the in front of it.
I get that. Okay. Yeah. Right. Because it is the platform, the Geo Web, the app, the DApp.
Yep.
That makes sense. Yeah, I kind of go back and forth. I also don't know if I'm supposed to capitalize the W, put a space between them, slam them together. It's kind of the same with metagame, though.
Yeah, camel case or spaces, who knows? I don't know. We're definitely not experts at branding or marketing or any of that sort of stuff. So just choose your own adventure. We're not going to be offended. And we'll see where the community lands. Maybe whatever people start spelling it as, that we'll go with that. We'll form a brand.
I've been kind of mashing it together because metagame's been sticking to that trend lately, so I've been kind of following the same format. But I thought I'd ask because I saw it a few different ways while I was preparing some of the shilling material, and I was like, "Uh-oh, am I doing this wrong?"
All good.
Okay. And streaming quadratic funding, is that going to be branching off to a separate thing? Is that still
Yeah,
um
well, yeah, we'll kind of get into that. It's going to be separate. Basically, there's enough opportunity there that there's going to be a new team, and we're going to develop the tools around streaming quadratic funding, streaming quadratic voting, and other streaming allocation mechanisms. And the GeoWeb is using it as a product, but it doesn't necessarily like scream streaming quadratic funding or public goods funding when you first start talking about augmented reality.
right?
So yeah, we'll split it off. We got lots of ideas, crazy ideas, and excited to explore them. And um, yeah, it's exciting stuff.
Well, the
Now
floor
we
is
get into
yours.
it.
Yeah, if you want to screen share, you're welcome to do that. If you're just going to be on voice, that's fine too. Boom, screen share is up.
Yeah, and we'll let the pictures do the talking. Hopefully, I do have some slides that can hopefully illuminate some of what we're talking about. But I think I called this streaming quadratic funding in the metaverse. I'm actually going to start with the metaverse stuff first, and then we'll get into the funding, streaming quadratic funding. Um, Excited to be here. Love metagame. Have kind of been. I'm more of a lurker typically in these things, and kind of just hang in the background and absorb information. But back in like probably 2020 ETH Denver, I hacked on some stuff with Meta Dreamer and Das Bullock. I'm not sure if he's still around in metagame, but those two pulled me in, and I've kind of just been lurking ever since. But love the mission here to onboard more people, make spread information, and so hopefully we can do some of that with the Geo Web and streaming quadratic funding today. The Geo Web is, as I mentioned, focused on augmented reality. And basically, what we're trying to create is a shared augmented reality. So, a layer of the metaverse that's wrapped around the world that we all agree upon, and it's public, and it's not owned by a corporation. It's not driven by algorithms written by Facebook, Apple, and Google to maximize engagement so that they can sell ads that get beamed into your eyeballs at all times. We want it to be more like the web, where it's simple protocols that we all agree upon, and we can have self-sovereign like ownership and publishing capabilities. But ultimately, we need that to be effective, right? Right? We don't want to just create. It sounds great that we're all going to coordinate and this is going to happen just because we want it to, but ultimately incentives and utility have to be there. And so we've been focusing on trying to create this shared layer of the metaverse that we all decide to opt into. And how we've been doing that is by utilizing a tool called partial common ownership, or Harburger taxes. It comes from the same people that came up with quadratic funding, Glenn Weil, Vitalik, and Radical Exchange. But so on this DApp here, we have the whole world. And basically how we allocate publishing rights on the Geo Web is kind of like a 3D domain name system. And it's obviously, ICANN, DNS, like that sort of idea, but it's going to be spatial and it's going to be run on smart contracts. So how you can do that is I'm on a test net here. Zoom in. I often claim stuff in New York City. Define your parcel. It is square right now, and there's like limits on how big the parcels can be. But I'm going to claim this parcel of land, and I will have exclusive rights to publish AR content into this space when people go there. So think of it like Pokemon Go, but like we're using this to determine who gets to publish what where. So define this this space that I'm going to claim, and I guess I need to connect the wallet, assign my test wallet. I'm in, and I mentioned this system of partial common ownership or Harbinger taxes. How this works to prevent squatting, which would really kill any innovation and any sort of utility if everyone was just able to claim parcel of land and sit it on forever. Under our system, you have to set a for sale price. If I really like this parcel of land and I don't want someone to buy it from me, I should list a really high price. But as you see what's happening here, as I change the price, this is a public for sale price that will be associated to this NFT. I have this network fee stream growing. So it's 10% per year. So if I say it's worth 10 ETH, I'm going to have to open a stream to pay 1 ETH per year in fees. So simple way to balance incentives so that I can invest and grow the value as I like build a business around publishing here. I don't have enough ETH for however many, however big of a price that is, but I can raise the price. I can sell it, or I can earn like appreciation on my investment, but I can't withhold this property. I don't have monopoly property rights. Someone can always come buy it from me, and I have to pay for the right to do that. So I'll go ahead and do this. We are using a system of streaming tokens rather than like a lump sum deposit based payment. And we use a protocol called Superfluid. And so it requires a version of ETH that's wrapped or upgraded in Superfluid terms. So you have to sign extra transactions, but I'm going to go ahead and claim this. And what's going to happen is I'm going to take this land out of circulation, and I'm going to open a stream of 0.1 ETH per year into the Geo Web treasury. We lay out all the more details there. But once this transaction is open, I'm going to see some funds get added to our treasury up here. I should mention that all of the payments made on the Geo Web go to public goods. We are not the landlords of the earth. That is not how we're going to coordinate and bring everyone together to basically outcompete Meta and Apple and Google and our corporate overlords. So once I've claimed this parcel of land, it's my three-dimensional domain name. I can give it a name. I can put a link in there. I'm not going to do that. But what we're really excited and what we've been building to, and where Tommy and I met, I guess, how do you, Omaka now? What should I call you? Where we started talking is the different use cases and things that you would want to see in augmented reality. We started building a lot of this for open web versions. We are currently in the final stages of releasing a totally on-chain geospatial AR publishing set and a companion spatial browser that'll be on iOS to be able to interpret this. We'll add Android, we'll do all the other sort of devices later, but that's where we're starting. So with this augment publisher, basically I can drop a 3D model somewhere. Let's just say I want it on this street corner. I can click there. I can upload a model. I'm not going to do that right now. Give it a name. Say it's 100 meters off the ground because I want it to be in the sky. I can make it turn to the east, and let's make it really big. So I would add this model. I would publish it there, and anyone using a GeoWeb browser walking by this street corner would then see the object that I posted there. You can do that with sounds. we're really interested in. Omaka, I think, is there too. This idea that you can compose and build all sorts of interesting art, NFTs, interactions, games, and put those out into the world and do it in a permissionless manner, but yet still have some cohesion and an experience that actually makes sense. So that's the first bit of alpha. At the end of this, I'll share a link. You can sign up for access to our test flight browser if you have an iOS based phone. Things are breaking. We're using Mud v2. It's built by Lattice and Redstone, and like there's been a whole bunch of on-chain gaming. We're using some of those tools to build this world, this Mud world. We'll define.
How has that been going?
It's good. I mean, Mud is a very powerful tool. It's a way to kind of break down and build ambitious games and applications online or on chain. And it just recently last month finished its audit. There's still some tooling around it. The smart contracts are stable. And do a lot of nice things. We'll be able to do permissioning. We'll be able to do installs of new, what we're calling augments. We'll have a nice long list of different things that you'll be able to publish here. So maybe some splants and different interactions and all different things. So we're excited to use that because it's going to open up a lot of developer experience. And ultimately, we'll create the augment store that instead of taking 30% of everything that you sell as a app creator, hopefully we can actually subsidize that with some of this public goods funding. So throwing a lot of stuff out there, but yeah, that's basically the Geo Web. We want to create this metaverse, this shared experience out in the world, so that when we all have smart glasses or we're holding up our smartphones looking at the world, we can actually see the same thing when we walk down the street and have shared experiences rather than algorithmically siloed ones where we literally live in a different world. So that's what we've been working on for now several years. And we are very public goods focused. As I mentioned, we're all of these funds that we're creating through this partial common ownership land market go to public goods. We grew up through the Gitcoin ecosystem. We've been in quadratic funding rounds. We're still in them and have bootstrapped via those mechanisms. But we deeply understand the pain of shilling these grants on a quarterly basis. As we at the top of the call, it's very transactional and it's tough to. It just doesn't feel sustainable as we onboard more public goods projects, more grantees. It takes a lot to do this on a quarterly basis. So since we were collecting these streams in these fees and streams, we thought, why don't we take the power of quadratic funding and make it a stream? And so that's what we did. All right, MetaMask not smooth if you don't have it installed. Yeah, we're using Rainbow Kit, but for sign-ins. But I'll stay focused on this, and then we can actually
play around
to do Q&A and all that sort of stuff. So because we are collecting these fees on a per second basis, you're not depositing, you're opening a stream. And the idea of a stream maybe is what I should dive into before I get into all this stuff moving around. Streaming quadratic funding, we talked about like the power of quadratic funding earlier. Basically, it comes down to, it's really cool that you can have donate $1 and get matched 100. That's what we want. And what the incentive structure does is overcome the free rider problem. That's a tough thing. The toughest challenge in public goods is free riders and like the tragedy of the commons. QF is one of the most promising ways to overcome that, because if you only give $1 and you get matched 100, that feels really good, and you're going to support this thing that is totally optional. You didn't have to donate. So that's great, but QF has challenges. It consolidates all the round activity. We have to get all these votes together in a 2-week period so we can batch them up and send out money after. With streams, we don't have to do that. Streams are continuous value transfers. So you open a single transaction, and it's like a flow that's based off of time. It's an extension of the ERC20. We don't need to go into all the technicals there, but just know that when you open a stream, there's continuous value, and you don't have to do another transaction until you update the flow, like the value, if you want to have more, less, or cancel it. And so you have transactions that start, end, and update. And that's a super powerful primitive to build interesting things on chain. So we took quadratic funding and streams, we combined it together, and basically built a version of quadratic funding that is distributed, like calculated and distributed in real time. As we get rid of this batch model of traditional quadratic funding, we open up a lot of use cases and opportunities. It's more adaptable. It decentralizes administration, discovery, and ultimately, I think, makes more impact. And I think the coolest way will be how we can compose these things together. So I'm not going to go through all the slides because, yeah, slides suck. But I'll go back to kind of this UI here. So what's actually happening here is we have our quadratic matching pool down here that is constantly flowing. This is sourced from the fees paid over here in the land market, plus additional people, if they want, can open up streams. So you can always grow the matching pool. What wallet am I signed in? Do I have a good one? Let's do it. Let's add some funds to the matching pool. I'm going to add 0.5 ETH to the matching pool, and we're going to see this grow. Above that pool are other funders and me. And we can see the flow of funds from these donors, these sources of public goods funding going to a bunch of grantees over here. This is just a test net. There's not these typically are like a name of a grantee and all that sort of stuff. But you can see that if I were to open a donation to this grantee, one DAI would get matched 658 times in real time. So I can't remember if I actually have I need a Gitcoin passport to be able to do this, but say I'm going to open up this one DAI stream. I don't have a passport. We have Sybil resistance mechanisms. I won't be able to do this one. But basically, the idea is every time someone opens or modifies a stream, we can recalculate the quadratic matching. And there's some super powerful primitives that Superfluid built to do this, to manage one-to-many matching streams. And it's almost like magic. Basically, you could have 1 million grantees in the round, and if one person opens a stream to one of those grantees, you can not only update the matching stream for that one grantee, but the other 999,999 grantees, and reallocate that pool. So this starts to become a very powerful mechanism for communities to allocate funds to collectively use their collective intelligence, but not have it thrown away at the end of each grant round. It's continuous, so it can evolve. And I mentioned earlier, compose together. We're really excited about these different rounds being plugged into each other. So say, instead of individual grantees, what if this was another streaming quadratic funding round? And so you could have these fractal allocation, collective allocation mechanisms doing really powerful, I guess, efficient use of funds to fund public goods and do it very effortlessly and frictionlessly. So yeah, that's quick. I don't know if that was quick, but I can pause here and kind of take some questions and talk through more of this stuff. We do have some exciting kind of incentives on the Geo Web right now. We're going to be launching SQF, a training cohort with Gitcoin, and all sorts of fun stuff. So I'm going to pause quick and open it up for any questions.
Yeah, so I think you covered a lot really quickly. Thank you for being so on point and quick with everything. SQF looks amazing. I'm personally really excited to, and part of why I invited you to be on this call is because use it as a guild mechanism to pay for within the guild. I've been kind of hinting that we were going to be moving towards this for a little while, but I wanted to bring you on as a guest first to showcase it. So this is going to be kind of the experiment that we're going to use to do contribution and compensation for the Innkeepers Guild. I really like the mechanism of being able to like real time shift the, if you're able to be here this week and record this week, but maybe last week you weren't able to participate, we can just shift that stream and it kind of helps take care of it. Totally co. I think Jesus Coin would love this a lot too. So it's exciting. Has anyone used it besides the experimental round that you've done so far?
No, so yeah, that's all. We're really excited for other people to use it, and you and I have been chatting in DMs for a while, and that sounds like a great use case. So we built this as a feature for the Geo Web. We had this need for governance of our collective treasury, and we wanted to get those funds out to users as soon as possible. So we built this with Superfluid and Gitcoin Allo. They've all been super excited and supportive of this. But now that we've built this out on the Geo Web, we ran a pilot for 60 days. We allocated around 5.5 ETH to some awesome public goods. Now we're ready for the next step. And that is to open this up to others and see where it goes. So we're building out tooling for administrators to like, if you've run on Gitcoin Grant Stack, they have a pretty slick UI and ability to launch hosted QF rounds like traditional ones. We're building
Right.
towards that same thing. And there's actually a lot of things that are simplified with QF. So you'll be able to, without any like developers, be able to launch an SQF round on supported chains with supported tokens and select your grantees and start allocating. We are going
That's
to
awesome.
continue to explore different ways to vote. Quadratic funding is voting with dollars, right?
Hey, Binks, can you? Yep.
Uh,
All right. Yep.
Bye. So the funding is voting with your dollars is one mechanism, and it's cool because it allows you to have basically anyone participate. Obviously, we use Gitcoin Passport to to try to combat the Sybils, but there's also quadratic voting, and so you could grant NFTs to voters and say you get 100 voice credits. You don't have to spend your real dollars. And you can still use the power of this quadratic idea to be able to express your preferences in a very high bandwidth way and shift the streams in between. So for the guild that you're talking about, it might be a good fit for quadratic voting or funding if you want external people to be able to add funds to the pool. But yeah, we're building all that out. It's going to be separate from the GeoWeb
Yeah,
team just
it's
because it deserves its own it's going to be its own platform, basically.
okay. That's part of what I was wondering because I was getting a little bit of a confusion when I was like, "Hey, I'm bringing a streaming quadratic funding." Guests are like, "Yeah, but what's it have to do with GeoWeb?" And I'm like, "Just it's getting there. It's branching out of it." So we have some super fluid people, some builders. Sarah, our head builder, has been doing a lot with Superfluid and has actually introduced into the Meta OS and the Meta profile system a subscription model that's a stream.
Nice.
So we do have some experience on the building side too. So I think it would be really cool to continue this, this experiment with you and try it out for the guild. And then in the future, we might be able to like add SQF as a node or a block on the Meta OS system because I see it as a really great, a much better paying mechanism than some of the other experiments we've been playing with Coordinape, with multi-sigs that we're voting at random times with people that aren't always present. And, a lot of our funding or most all of our funding right now at MetaGame is from grants, right? And so, like you said, it's kind of sporadic. You lose a little bit of building momentum every quarter when you're going through all these grant round things. And then you
Yeah.
have to figure out how to divvy that up with the people that are actually still active and present when the money actually comes in.
Yeah.
And I really love this streaming idea where you can just have streams going and they can be, the faucet can increase and decrease based on if you're able to be around right now, if you're actually contributing right now, and it can be right away rather than kind of this trust exercise that we go through of, hey, work all month and at the end of the month we'll be sure to pay you something, and in a volatile token that might be worth a lot less at the end of the month. And I really like this idea of this constant stream. People feel rewarded right away for participating. um, and I see on here you have the U direct funders and quadratic matching.
Yeah.
So I guess in the case of, and we can have a side chat. I would very much love to be a part of the cohort with Gitcoin to get the ropes down and carry on with this experiment, so we can have this
Yeah.
as a further conversation later.
Yeah.
Um, but right now, the way that the guild's kind of working out is that we have a monthly budget to work from, more or less, to help contributors and to pay contributors. So would that be the U in this case? Like that, if we have a monthly
Yeah.
kitty to work from, and
I
then
think the matching funds basically are kind of in this UI was custom built for this. It is applicable to other quadratic funding rounds. It doesn't scale all that nicely. If you have a lot, if you had like 20 people in here, that's just a lot of shit going on on a page. So we built this for the
yeah,
wow factor. We are building out additional UIs, but yeah, like if you're allocating funds that you have amongst a group, basically that's here in this matching, or it's just like
okay,
kind of your treasury, and these would be like your votes or funding. And it, like, again, different imagery and different viz might
right.
be appropriate for that. But yeah, we are definitely uh so sorry, got some people that have
Geo Web.
claimed parcels. Definitely appreciate that. We did. So we were in the process. We previously used ceramic nodes or ceramic for a way for on-chain or off-chain linking and IPFS. We made the decision to drop that and move all on-chain. So if you had old content in that model, it probably got dropped. But if you go now, the we are live.
Okay.
The live UIs at geoweb.land. You can go claim parcels there. You'll actually, if you give your parcel a name and a link, we actually use like the NFT ERC 721 NFT metadata for that, and then we're going to be adding the mud stuff later. So it's all on chain. If you go look at OpenSea, you would see the parcel name once it's been updated and all that sort of stuff. And really appreciate those who have already started exploring on the GeoWeb. I know I don't want to dip into Mikhail and Jade's time, so I just wanted to. I'll finish with that link that I dropped has all the links for the stuff that we're going to be launching here soon. We have the training program, that test flight access. We recently launched SQF on DGen chain over the weekend because we just wanted to YOLO it out there. We're going to be doing a builders round there, so another grant opportunity. We have been grantees through so many programs, and I just really hate administrative overhead. I hate it. I just want to focus on building products and making an impact. And so that is a deep motivation for SQF. And we're really excited to explore this idea that the things that you care about don't necessarily change quarter to quarter, and requiring and creating that friction that you have to go back every single quarter to donate to the things you care about is just it's inefficient. And we're creating it, making it really hard for public goods and for public greats to be able to support themselves and focus on building. And so we want the money to get out there quickly. We want to reduce administrative overhead. And we ultimately think that this model creates better collective intelligence, better collective allocation, because you're not being rushed and shielded by 500 different grantees trying to make a decision about what matters. Subscriptions are a powerful model in Web 2 and so many other places. Let's bring them on chain and amplify them with quadratic funding. So the last thing I'll say is, if you've already claimed land parcels on the Geo Web, you might have been in the time when we had we got a grant from Optimism. Every single parcel that you claim right now will earn you 2 OP. Each parcel, the upfront fee is only 0.001 ETH. So if you're good at math and looking at token prices, that's actually an arbitrage opportunity. We would love to see people that care about this stuff go make some money by claiming GeoWeb parcels. We airdrop at least monthly that OP. So if you can claim up to 10 parcels, which would be 0.01 ETH, and you'd receive 20 ETH in 20 OP. I wish it was 20 ETH, 20 OP for doing that. So a little bit of alpha there. Go claim that. If you have any questions, follow me on Warpcast X, hit me up on the DMs. Really love to support builders and what's going on in MetaGame. If there are questions, if anyone wants to jump on voice, I'm trying to keep up with the chat, but I'm not good at that and talking at the same time. But
Yeah, you've been doing great. You've pretty much covered everything. If anyone does want to hop on voice, TimeEd did ask originally a little bit of clarification on the property tax aspect, or having to pay a yearly tax. I sent the link to the docs for the partial common ownership, but maybe if you can touch on that really quickly.
yeah, so basically when it's stream based, so that's using Superfluid, and you're going to be paying per second. So if I set the price at 0.001, I'm going to pay 0.0001 ETH per year. And if I divide that by the number of seconds in a year, that's actually how much will be transferred using the Superfluid streaming protocol every single second. And so this is very slowly, this number is very slowly counting up. This is, again, this is testnet, but this is counting up based off of everyone paying in their fees. On mainnet, we've raised 2.673 ETH and counting for public goods. So all the streams of active parcels are going into that treasury until we stream them out over here.
Amazing. I love it. It's a lot of fun.
Townhall, I think maybe that I referenced, you can claim up to 10 parcels to earn the rewards. So you just have to go through this and claim 10 at a time, or 1 at a time, up to 10 per address, and then we will airdrop you the OP after the fact. We do that in batches.
Oh, so nice, Chris. Thank you. Yeah, so we're trying to buy the location for Metafest Croatia that happened last year. And because we have a couple people that are actually in the town, they would be able to walk over there and participate for it. So if anyone here in the call right now wants to send me in a DM some sort of media, maybe a picture, if you Mikhail, Jade, if you want to send me some green pill stuff, if anybody else wants to send me their avatars or something, I'm gonna try to take care of it while Green Pill's speaking and buy this, and I will put your media on the space right now. So you kind of like a reverse POAP for the day. We'll throw the media that you want to add to the Metafest Croatia space on GeoWeb. And then if you end up purchasing something today, let me know, and I will send you a MetaGame logo or 3D model. I'll send you something cool that you can put onto your parcel if you buy something today too.
Excellent. Yeah, much appreciated. Like I said, we'll sign up if you're interested in seeing like the true geospatial AR stuff. Follow that link, sign up for our test flight so you can use an iOS phone and you'll actually see Pikachu or MetaGame or Green Pill or Geo Web stuff out in the world. Um, we do have like a web-based version of the browser. I haven't claimed in my home location because I didn't want to dox myself. But if you go to geoweb.app, that's basically a slimmed down version of what we'll be providing for GeoWeb, the spatial browser. So they all read from on chain. There's just more capabilities possible using ARKit and iOS. So you'll actually be able to see that 3D content. And we're constantly building that out and looking forward to launching it and get some real utility actually going on the GeoWeb. Right now, this is like just for nerds to speculate kind of on like the adoption of PC Harburger taxes and this weird idea of an augmented reality metaverse layer. But once we get some utility going and people can use this and have fun with it, hopefully that can bootstrap this network that we can all own together and fund public goods and create shared reality.
Thanks, Mikhail.